Welcome back, guys. As I stated, we're still digging. So this village that we're doing here, just a little bit more planning and thought on the village. We're not really gonna have the space, I think, to do like the woodsman's cottage and stuff, because the buildings themselves aren't particularly big. Like we go over here to a flatter area. I can show you essentially the dimensions of each one of the houses. Just for those who either didn't watch my first season or has forgotten how big they are. Essentially, we take a post, right, and we go 1, 2, 3, post, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, post, and then post. Okay, and that's the interior. Is all of this, right? Because there's also an extra layer on some of them, right? So some of them actually get pretty big, which means we can fit one on one side and probably one on the other side. Hence the idea of having only a single road, or yeah, single path, I guess, running through the center of the village. It is making it a longer village, and I know that there is restrictions on how far you can go, like how far from the center villager huts can be, and I don't even know if it's going to be entirely populated. If it's not, like if we can't get it to go the entire length of it, then I'll build like a warehouse district or something at one end. I did want to have some sort of concept of what do you call it? What's a good word for? I have no cobble. Well, that's irritating. Let's put that down. We'll cook a couple of these. That'll make us some coal, and we can cook the iron. So yeah. What was I talking about? Something to do with length? Right, I needed some sort of concept for them to actually have like some sort of life, like reason or a way of actually keeping the village functioning. Right, because if you just put a village on here, wall it off, and have nothing but houses, in theory it works. Wow, it only cooks one. Okay, sure, that's enough, I guess. It does technically work, but it feels limited. They don't have a way of sustaining, so it's kind of like they're just in a walled city. And because I won't have much room for farms, and there won't be like an actual mining system and some sort of lumber yard and stuff like that, then it's going to create like the concept that you need to have some way for them to get stuff in order to survive, right? So what I was thinking was we would build on this side like a little docking port, and then maybe way down there we should put like a lighthouse of some sort, or lighthouse-ish building, and that would serve as kind of like the function, right? Is they survive by importing stuff from somewhere else. Now, I don't know what they sell. Maybe we'll have enough room we can actually put a mine. Whoops. No. Oh, I didn't mean to make the pick. Can you tell I've been away from Minecraft for a bit? For like a week? I didn't even touch the game, by the way, when I was like for that week. I maybe touched it like maybe once or twice, just to kind of like float around in it as I thought about stuff and like kind of sort of laid stuff out, but that's really it. Yeah, I know. Weirdness, right? Anyways. Yeah, so I needed I need to give it some sort of theoretical source of income to make the actual village seem stable enough to actually survive on the island. So I'm thinking what we'll do is we'll put probably a mine, because it's the most self-enclosed type of system. It's also the smallest thing you actually technically can build. And it makes the most sense, right? Because if it's a mine, then it means they can have access to virtually unlimited space underground. I don't think I'm going to have much built underground, as more as might just have a mine shaft that goes down in like a quarry fashion, like a smaller version of what we have over there. just designed so that it looks like it goes down to quarry out something, and then boom, we have a mine. Bring up some like the iron ore and stuff like that. Maybe even get the silk touch, bust out the silk touch, get some like coal ore and stuff like that, and have them just kind of shipping out the basics, you know, basic necessities of industry, and in exchange they get like, you know, food and other resources that they don't normally have access to. That type of thing. Or as an alternate to that, instead of having them ship anything out, we can still have the dock and stuff just as like landmarks, but we can take the, I don't know, the time and effort, yeah, it's called time and effort, to build out here, like build on this side like a little woodman's cottage, maybe even have a bridge across and have like a little extension as like the outskirts. I honestly don't know. I'd rather keep it all on the island if I could. So we'll see what happens when we build it onto the island. If we decide that we want to have it kick out, then we can do it afterwards. Kind of like as a... We'll keep it in mind, is essentially what I'm trying to say. So all this stone has to be dug out and replaced with dirt. Because... Just because. The original plans in my head kind of had one section here dropping down a lot lower, but we don't really have the kind of space to do that, so I need to drop the bed as well, and I'm going to drop the chest so I can put some dirt away. It's an awful lot of dirt. Can't sleep yet. Obviously I just put the dirt away that I need to fill in this, but I know. Huzzah! Anyways, a lot of that dirt, if not all of it, will probably be used in the creation of the rest of this island, because all of the sand in most of that middle section there has to get replaced. Just because I don't like having sand in my village. It seems a little weird. Especially if we're doing... Now, in the dock area, it's probably fine. So let's just grab like 3 stacks. Just because in the dock area you kind of expect it, right? It's supposed to be the closest thing to the water, so logically there would be a beach section. But it might not even be like a proper dock. It may just be another one of the little alcoves, kind of like that, where it's just like a seawall that, you know, hooks in just to create like a little sheltered section to keep the boats in line. Not that the boats freak out anymore. They do kind of teleport briefly for sometimes, and then suddenly they're right where they're supposed to be. But they don't move, as far as I know. They don't just randomly wander off anymore. They're a lot more stable, which is great. And I do love the fact that they come in many different colors. But anyways, we'll have a proper entrance and stuff for like land entrance, and then we'll have the sea entrance. And honestly, I might even build like an underground run to it. Like connect the actual area via tunnel. Similar to what we have going out to the skeleton spawner. But I guess probably coming off the skeleton spawner and then coming this way. Or maybe we'll just have something where you can step down like over here. Just have it go down and then we can see it underneath the water. And maybe it won't even be like a... Geez, what would be an appropriate term? Maybe there won't be a ground access. Or we'll have the ground access, obviously, because we have to in order to have the zombie villager converter. But we may make it so that that access is the only other access on. And then the rest of it is just a complete walled city. And the only way on is through the ground access or through the tunnel. Don't mind me, just continuing to fill in with cobble because we need to bring this level up to here. Which is fine, which means all of this needs to get cobbled. I don't know... Oh, that's more iron, but whatever. We got plenty of iron back at base. Which, conveniently, this village, we don't have to worry too much about base because it's right there. So, yeah. Now, before we go any further, I think we need to decide on something. we need to decide on how we're doing the walls, because we can't really slope it down like this, because it's supposed to be like all of this would get replaced with stone as part of a retaining wall, right? And that would come up like one block and then like a half block, and then all of this would get an actual wall. But as you can see, with the slope down, it kind of makes it, you know, a pointless wall. So I need to decide whether or not we are going to level out everything. Like maybe we bring everything up to like here, so that when we do the wall, we can do the wall in the water, and then we can do the wall up, right? And then we can do it one more, and then put a half slab on top, and from the outside, it'll look like a nice chunky retaining wall with like walled city, but won't actually obscure the view from over here. And whatever we do, we need to make sure that the entire perimeter is done the same way. So if we do this here, right, we have to essentially, wherever there's wall, like so, because we'd have this come up like this, right? That would have one there. This would come up like that. Is we'd have to then essentially fill in this entire area. Right? Does that make sense? So it'd be like that. Of course, there'd be like that. So that it's full, and it'll be like sharper corners and proper stuff. Because otherwise, it'll get really hectic, really all over the place, and more than likely the villagers will get out. So if we do this, we need to figure out what we're going to do with this stuff over here, and how far this level is going to expand. Because if we have multiple zones of it, then it's going to become more and more difficult to actually keep the villagers in line. Not to mention, the more, or the less tiers, platforms, less elevations, there we go, that's the word I'm looking for. The less elevations, the better, the more space each of those elevations are going to have, which means the more houses we can set in one base area. Because, truthfully, if we had this area separate, right, then we'd be able to maybe get a house in here, but more than likely not. Whereas if we do it like this, we can get a house over there easy and a house over here easy, and still have some room around them to maneuver. And that's the important part. So I'm thinking, yeah, I think we elevate this and kind of square it off a little bit. Like, we'll keep this little piece poking out, but what we'll do is we'll bring it to like here. We'll obviously make it less blatant, right? Do we have more dirt? Not on me. There's more in the chest, I'm pretty sure. There's plenty more in the chest. Right, so we'll go like this. Matter of fact, we'll actually cut that one back one just to make it a little bit more interesting. We'll go like that. Just to give this a nice proper contour. And then what we'll do is over this area, because we'll fill in this, we'll bring this back. Like, it'll only come out, like, maybe this is the furthest it goes out. Matter of fact, we could probably cut that off and have it come back 1, 2, 3. We'll have that one go over and then tear off like that. Because that would give us kind of this almost like a snaking shape. And that gives us this massive platform up here, plenty of room to build. Then when we fill in this, we'll have this platform, which is also plenty of room to build. To put a house there, probably get another one there, get at least 2 down this side. Right? Because depending on how far we take this to continue along, because this will all be obviously filled in as well. This area needs to get filled in, so we'll have all of this space. Because this will all be one. Because this gets all filled in the middle. And then we'll tear down that, and then we'll have that area as the back. Yeah, I like that idea. It works really well. But anyways, that's time. So we'll be doing more of this, actually. Yeah, so I will I'll see you when I see you.